Africa Science Dialogue, closing the gap between science and society.
Hello and welcome to the Africa Science Dialogue today. With me here in studio is Dr. Canisius Kanangire, who is the Executive Director of the African Agricultural Technology Foundation. Dr. Kanangire wears very many hats, one of them being an administrator. He's an academician, he's an experienced technocrat. He is quite a CV. He's served in several places, and we said we agreed with him that if we mentioned all of them, it will be quite the list, but he has served in several capacities. And today we will be talking about misinformation and disinformation in science. He has seen a transition between several cadres or several areas in his career, and can tell us a lot about how young scientists coming up probably have found challenges with this generation of AI and social media, and how possibly he feels they can deal with misinformation and disinformation. Dr. Kanangire, welcome to the podcast today.
Thank you very much, Peter.
I'm so happy that you honored our request to be here with us.
Thank you.
You have a wealth of experience, and my feeling is this whole new wave of social media and AI-fueled misinformation and disinformation is not very old. Probably as we start, I would like to know, as you were growing up or as a young career scientist back then, do you feel like you had the same kind of pressure that young journalists now probably have? Because one of the things that automatically they have to deal with is a society that is increasingly more misinformed and disinformed in science.
I think things have changed very, very significantly from the time we were young students, young professionals in academia, teaching, preparing conferences, and doing our own research and preparing publications. Things have very much changed. You know, when we were young, the sources of information were the library, where you would find a number of books which are already there, and papers, scientifically published papers, those peer-reviewed, and those are curated information. So you didn't have this, I will call it a pollution of information coming on all the sources. With the opening of the social media, with Google and all the information which is amassed and which can be accessed through that platform, the information is not reviewed, is not treated. You think of something, you write and you put it on there, and people will see it, and they say, "Oh, I read it on this platform. I'm getting it from X. I'm getting it from this platform, Google and Wood." But those are information which are not verified, which are not, I would say, challenged by any peer reviewer. And those are the sources today which are cited and sometimes believed by people, and it fuels misinformation, because you get them, you believe it's good, and then you go with it. I can see it even in the projects and publications by young people. When you read a draft and look at the references which were used by the person, you see all those links to different sources of that nature. But for me, you need to be very cautious. Not all of them are good, and that is the current situation that we have, which can easily open a huge and very wide door to misinformation and falsehood peddling. I'm not saying that it is bad. Technology is good, but you need to be very cautious and be deliberate in questioning questioning what you read from. Is it true? Is it really well searched, well presented, well supported? Is it based on evidence? Evidence? They're supported by data, how the data was collected. I mean, how true is this information that I'm reading? I think that is the biggest question. And currently, I would say, I want to be understood in the context I'm saying it. Youth and other many people using those sources are quite lazy. They don't want to go deeper and interrogate what they are reading. They grab it and run with it, but sometimes they run with something which is not worth being grabbed and being used.
But now, I like what you say that probably there are, if today I want to communicate to somebody in my village about something that has just occurred somewhere, it's very easy when I use social media. If, for example, I write something and I tell people in Nairobi this and that is happening, so many people on social media will see it. How do you, as a scientist and as an administrator, make sure that while you can leverage, you can use this social media to make sure that you reach more people faster and everything? How do you strike a balance between benefiting from this technology to reach people faster, to develop quicker messages, shorter messages, appealing messages, and dealing with misinformation that also reaches people at the same speed? How do you manage this on social media?
I think there are two ways. The first one, in that old time when we were using library and had material, you go for a book in a library to get the information. I think it was sure that it will be a good book. It was something which is reviewed and the truthness is verified, but it was quite difficult to succeed. It was quite difficult to send out that kind of publication to everyone. With the social media today, I think it is very easy to share those information. I'm very comfortable with attachment which are put on those social media. Use all the type of communications that you have, LinkedIn, X, WhatsApp, or whatever. There is your own statement, yes, and that can be. I don't have many ways of verifying it. It is I trust you in your way and your intention in circulating that information, but for scientific information, I will rely more on the attachment that you will put. If you attach a paper which is published by a renowned journal, then it is more trustful. For me, I'm more comfortable. That is a document I can use, and of course, because you have used a means which which reaches many people. Yeah, you have used that means to really for many people to benefit from that good information. I think that is good, and that is what the social media and other means of communication have brought in. Democratize the access to information, especially many young people, including my children. When they have a pen somewhere, they go to Google, and then I have a pen in the back, and then there is a list of a number of causes, and then what medicine could help me for this, and then there is again a number of medicine. Those things cannot replace a medical doctor, cannot replace a consultation, because just a person X got pain in the back and took aspirin and it helped me. I write on Google and I
Sort of
posted there.
diagnosis, yes.
But I have not done any diagnosis.
Yes.
I don't know if it is something which went just went because I walked and my muscles got more flexible than before. So you don't know. So there are things that you don't know. People seeking for diets, for example. I want a diet to reduce my weight. You go there, you type. And then there is a list of things. You take this on Monday, this on Tuesday, and then you will lose 10 kilos in 1 week. And you believe that. But the reality is when you do that, you will not have that weight loss. Why? Because, no one knows exactly why you have that weight. No one, it is not written there, the mechanism through which it will have you the result which is shown to you. You don't know the condition. It is not scientific. So I think that is the problem we are going through, and we need to be very, very cautious.
Yes. People diagnosing themselves all the time. I know some of us have been have done that, which is a little not okay. But I'm also wondering at the same time, Doctor, do you feel like there is a possibility of churning out scientists who are probably not as good as those ones of past, based on the fact that there is a lot of use of AI and so much more in research that makes it a lot easier, or like the citations you're talking about probably from the not the most credible sources. Do you feel like it makes people lazier, or like it makes people not more, innovative, inventive, like they have to rely on this technology because it works for them? So do you feel like there is a danger of finally, like at undergraduate level, churning out early scientists who are not very, very up to the task?
New technologies like AI, I think all the technologies, to start with, all the technologies have very positive aspects. Where challenge come from, it is how you individually determine to use the technology. So I'm not an expert in AI, but I believe AI has a very good thing and can help researchers and other people using it to predict things, because it has an access and a very fast way of processing enormous quantities of data and then bring you some positions. But now you as a human, you should use your human brain and your own capability, your knowledge, your scientific judgment, to look at the product that is given to you by AI, and then question some of the things, probe them, align them with what you really need as a content, and question even some of the sources, because the information which is put together by AI is based on different publications which are on the system, actually on the same topic. AI will give you a very good summary of the topic when it is something on an area which is very well searched, and a almost empty area on where you don't have much information on the system. So I would say AI is a tool. It is a good tool, but it needs to get also the input from individuals in analyzing what AI gives you, and give them your own contribution to align it with what you want, and give it the right level of truthness and trustfulness that you want to give the information. I have seen young people using ChatGPT. That is it, huh?
Yes.
And some young people advise me, you need to use this. It will really free you
really fast.
from many hours of developing documents.
Yeah.
And I said, no, I'm not going there. I will use my brain. But I think that's the first just idea. You try to push it away, but indeed, I think sometime I will try it, but with that cautious that I talked about.
Yes.
And some of the people who talked about it, they have the capability and the keenness to look at it and make it theirs. It is like I ask one of my junior colleague, to draft something, but when I receive it, I will still have my own input to make it something I can put my name on. So I think the same need to apply. But what we see is the misuse of that technology by students and other people who just take the product and send it to a professor, and then at the end of the day, the level of plagiarism and what becomes very high, because you can see that no, it is not him who did it. It is not how he did it, and there is just an artificial intelligence which produced this. So it is good, but we need to be cautious.
Yeah, and I think, as you said, AI is just a tool to make your work easier. You actually should own that work, and you just give the right command, and then you know how to manipulate your information as you would like it. Coming to this whole thing of, there's a book that was written by the late Professor Callistus Juma about how people do not like adapting to new technologies. It's a human thing to first bring about resistance. At a time when the automobiles were introduced, people said they did not reproduce like horses. So why are we ditching our horses, and the car will not give us a smaller car? Knowing that that is a thing in the face of so many technologies, and now with pseudoscientists and commercial activists and everybody who is against the science, and seeing as Africa, of course, needs a lot of these technologies in agriculture, bio-innovations, everything, to feed its population, which is massively rising, how are you able, in your position, from where you sit as an administrator, to ensure that you can deal with this whole wave of resistance that is born out of misinformation, disinformation, activism that probably is rooted on nothing, and the general human resistance to new technologies, and knowing there is an urgency, for example, in Africa, for adoption of some of these things? How do you go about that?
Yeah, first of all, resistance to change, I would say, is quite as natural as the change itself.
Yeah.
That resistance has its own causes. The first one could be that you don't want to change. This is good for me. You are bringing it because you think you are superior. So it is by pride that you refuse to adopt that. That is one of the thing. But the second, and sometimes the most important one, is the I don't know this. I don't master it. You want to remain in your comfort zone.
Yeah.
You don't want to learn new things, and then you oppose it, and it can be not only some sort of laziness and the liking the comfort, but also sometimes the complexity of the changes you are proposing, and then you fear to expose yourself as ignorant. But all in all, when there is that resistance, I think for me, understanding the human nature, I would say this is expected. Uh, and because I know some of the causes which can lead to that, the first one of the pride and what people like to be part of the change they are asked to implement. So that is the whole issue of communication before you start implementing. You share the knowledge about what you are proposing, the benefit it will bring, and you create space for the people to get involved into that change you are proposing. And once they own it, they feel actually that the positive which will come from it will also attributed somehow to them, then they support the change and they adopt it, and you can move with that. I think that is one way. But then I have seen for these big technologies that we are proposing, like what you are saying, the technology when the engine came to replace
The horses.
the horse. I think there is also a part of ignorance. For me, I think today I give reason, I give space to those who are impatient on the time it takes to adopt something, because collectively we are no longer at the level of knowledge that those who use the horse are, at least globally. So if our level, scientific level, knowledge level is higher, then we should quickly understand what brings us more benefit and which is which potentially will bring us more profit. That is what we want. So when I propose a biotech product or a new technology in any area, talking to people who are educated, I expect that the resistance will not take very long. It will only need to be explained and then create that space I talked about. And then once they understand, we move together. And because that is the situation, I will do a typology of my stakeholders geographically. When I talk to northern hemisphere, western part of the world, where people in general are educated, the level of education is higher, I expect that they will understand things and adopt technologies very quickly. When I talk to the southern, where we still have a high number of uneducated people, so the change will be very slow. The questions and the fear will be higher. You need to be more patient. And that is where we operate. We need to be patient and show the benefits we are proposing to them, that we expect too, because we are part of their communities. We explain to them, we show, we demonstrate, we are patient, we answer questions, even those questions which are not expected. And then we can move together. So here, that is the thing. But it is frustrating. That waiting is frustrating. That energy that we put in explaining, sometimes you feel frustrated because you are like shooting a moving target from a moving platform. You are in a situation which is quickly changing, quickly deteriorating. Like, for example, food security. In the case of where I sit today, any inaction will lead to more starvation somewhere, and more death probably somewhere, because there is no food. There is no nutritious food. And yet, if we had understood quickly and adopted the right technologies and the right policies and right regulations, we would have allowed people to produce enough to save those lives, to create even wealth and more dignity to the people. So it is a complex situation. As much as we need to bring everyone in the same train, we need to understand the differences of the understanding capacity, but we also need to have the sense of urgency. We don't have enough time. And going back to the situation you started with, all these new technologies, our fear as leaders in this area is that once again, we'll be left by the train. The technologies are coming very quickly because the world can now invent new technologies very quickly. Innovation is faster than in 50, 100 years ago. So it means that if Africa is still taking too much time to digest technologies, to master the fear, and to control misinformation and counter them, and try to have the political and policymakers coming and accepting to support the change, then those technologies will be replaced by a new one before we even take the stage and start understanding what is to be done. And that is what happened in the past with many other technologies. We risk again to miss out from the current innovation like AI you alluded to.
Yeah. And I hear you. And you say this is rapidly changing. And of course, the global south, definitely with the issues, you said it's very slow. But like you said, it's a moving target. And with how rapidly it's changing, there is no time to waste. Action should be taken. But it's not looking very, very possible because of different factors. And while you are aware of how exactly it should be, what do you think needs to be done, which can be done urgently, like now? Because in 2050, Africa's population will increase by more than 1 billion. It's projected. And I think the problems could only get worse if we do not, jump onto this bandwagon and not get left behind. So what do you think needs to be done right now to help save the situation?
I'm thinking currently of on the top of the head.
Yes.
I'm thinking of three, four things. The first thing is to have a bunch of people who understand the technologies, because there are many, understand them, customize them to the context in Africa, and get something they can show to Africans in general as a solution for some of the key issues that we have. And now go to the communication bit of it. Because it is about changing the mindset, changing the attitudes of people, so that any catalyst you can inject in the adoption of those technologies can find a fertile environment which will ensure that the gains are not lost, but there is sustainability in the changes which are adopted. And that can also create the ability of our own stakeholders to contribute also to generating new technologies by themselves. And here I'm seeing categories of stakeholders which are very key to have this understanding and change of mindset. The first one is the youth. And I'm saying it for two reasons. First, there are many. Somebody was talking about 70 in some countries on the African continent. 70%, I'm saying. It means really they are the one who constitute the working force of the country.
Yeah.
And there are many, and they are more open to changes. Actually, they are even more daring. They can try something, fail, and try another thing. They are not afraid of failing like those older people who think, oh, if I fail, it will be finished. I will not be able to recover from that. So I would very much focus on the young people and give them the knowledge, give them the capability, and use them as the engine for transformation. That is one. The second key group I would focus on is the policymakers.
Mm-hmm.
Policymakers, decision makers, those are the people who can create the environment in which those transformation can be done. Those new technologies can be injected in the society, but also policies which will create space for the youth to be part of the system. They need to be motivated. They need to be given really a platform which is conducive to their capabilities. I mean, here, financial capability and access to other resources. Policymakers are key. Unfortunately, I have noticed that they are quite difficult to change. Is it the age? Is it the way they are established in their role? They don't want to change easily, probably for also some of the interests which come with their positions, and like the vote and what you listen to so many people, and then the sources sometimes are confusing, and you want all of them to be part of your voters. Those are for political and other policymakers. They have also almost similar interests. So, but we need to work with them. It is the second biggest. The third one is now, okay, if you have a proper environment and you have the people who have understood that they need to do something, there are factors which will be conducive to them implementing what they think. Finance, for example, that access to resources, and here you need the private sector to come in, and them also need to understand. And when we say private sector, it is not only seed producers or business person here. There are also those bankers, those guarantors, and it is supported by a whole ecosystem which we need to come. In Africa, we still have a problem. And when you were introducing to me, you talked about my past experiences as an academician, as a lecturer, as a dean, and one leading person in some areas of research on the continent and in my country especially. I think we need to also look into how we train our people. I think that is also one of the area which has not very much changed. Professors normally are very free mind, and changes are not very quick to come in the way you teach people, but we need to teach differently, especially in Africa. What we need is not amassing knowledge in the heads of our young people, but rather give the right dose of knowledge and the direction on how to use that knowledge, how to adapt the knowledge, how to look for complementary knowledge which was needed to have skills and really change the world. So the way we do that, I think, also need to be revisited and aligned to the impact we want to create using that huge force we have in the youth in different African countries. Yeah.
Okay. Now, Dr. Kanangire, will you have any parting shots?
My parting shot is it is a concern. A concern, and I would say a concern and a hope. The concern is the alignment. I don't see a quick and very effective alignment between science, policy, and practice. Yeah, we have silos. Scientists are comfortable in their labs and their offices creating knowledge, very happy to publish and do that in their jargon and then be promoted. Policymakers are happy to implement what they think and what they think that their voters think and expect from them. And what they do most of the time is not aligned with the data collected by scientists and the recommendations that are generated by the analysis of the data by scientists, because each one lives in his own cocoon. And on the other side now, the practice. Our farmers in the area of agriculture, for example, where I am, they want to be shielded from all those factors, the drought, the insects, the diseases, and have seeds which can allow them to produce more and be competitive on the market. And for that, they are not capable of doing it by themselves. They could do it if they could access the information which is generated by scientists and then pass through the policymakers and all that ecosystem which would support the innovation, the transfer of the innovation at the farmers. That is my concern, that we should break those silos and be able to get a flow of those innovations down to the farmers and then support the farmers in that implementation to translate them into the impact. That is one. And now my hope that I'm seeing when I participate in discussions like these at this symposium on misinformation, on disinformation, on aligning science to impact, then I feel something is coming. Here, we are encouraging everyone to access the right source of information. In other conferences, like the African Conference on Agricultural Technology, we are insisting that science needs to fertilize practice. So transfer is key. We should not be only proud of having innovation in the shelves. We should have them on the field. In other conferences, like the Summit on Agriculture in FSF, we know that now we have ministers with us, now we have head of state discussing. So the policymakers are also ready to come and listen to scientists and get that into the policymaking processes. So there is an effort which is coming, and my wish is that is really amplified so that the alignment between the innovation and the application can really make our aim of transforming agriculture real, effective, and have some efficiency. Because at the end of the day, our dignity, our safety, I would say even our security as country and the continent depend on our capacity to feed our people.
Wow, nice parting shots. Dr. Canisius Kanangire, the Executive Director of the African Agricultural Technology Foundation, here in Lusaka, Zambia, attending the Africa Biennial Biosciences Communication Symposium 2025, the 6th edition. And as you have heard, he said that we need to harness the power of the youth, the policymakers. He's spoken about the private sector, and he's spoken about academia. And finally, he said that we cannot afford to work in silos. At a time when the global south, and especially here talking about Africa, we are in such dire need for food security. There is a plethora of issues around us, and we cannot joke about the future. Every single wasted moment, it will be regretted greatly in the future. And he, as an administrator, is not willing to sit back and watch things fade away. He's an administrator, he's an academician, he's a researcher, wearing so many hats. Long CV, good man. Thank you so much for joining us on the Africa Science Dialogue podcast. And thank you very much, Executive Director. Thank you, Dr. Kanangire. Yeah. Thank you for honoring our requests. We continue having these conversations with you here on the Africa Science Dialogue as we try to bridge this gap between science and society for the benefit of all. Thank you very much. See you next time.